T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Oh, what a night. Hello, everybody. It's daytime, but we're going to talk about the nighttime here on your favorite daytime sports talk show. It's episode number 1605 of the RP Show. I hope you're ready to have some fun. Profuse apologies already going out to the fans of the Vegas Golden Knights and specifically fans of their affable television host, Darren Millard. He sends his regards. He got his days mixed up, and he's going to be with us tomorrow. He can't do it today. So Darren Millard not here, but that's okay. Scruffy is here, as I said, an elite broadcaster, probably a very tired one. Mitchell, I'm going to jump right to this if you don't mind. We get into the quick six show topics, and we lead off with the big story. It's the World Series. Freddie Freeman hit a Brendan Little offering over the center field fence in the 18th inning on Monday night to give the LA Dodgers a 6-5 victory. Yes, 18 innings over the visiting Toronto Blue Jays in a 2-1 lead in the 2025 World Series. I'm not going to go any further than that. The question, Mitch, to everybody, I think, is, did you stay up for it? I'm going to tell you right now, I went to bed when it was 5-5 in the 7th inning. If that makes me a bad Jays fan, a bad sports fan, I don't care, because I feel great today. I woke up this morning and saw that
I was just going to say, you were in the Eastern time zone, so
right.
If you would have stayed up last night, you wouldn't have gotten to bed till about 20 after 2.
At
least.
As
for me, obviously, not being in the Eastern time zone, it was just after midnight. I was laying in bed, and when Freddie Freeman hit the home run, and it was over, I think within about 20 seconds of him touching home plate, remote was clicked, and it was bedtime.
Hey!
Exactly. And I don't know how much longer I was going to last because I was close to tapping out. I thought I was going to fall asleep on the couch in about the 14th inning, but what a night that was.
Well, yeah. Well, hang on. Let me just stop you. Let me just stop you. Nobody around here has been talking about the World Series. And for those that don't know, I am in South Florida. I mean, nobody. And the networks haven't been talking about it. The radio hasn't been talking about it. But as of today, everybody's talking about it. I don't know if that will continue to the end of this series or not, but that was the kind of game that gets everybody excited about this series. And again, the Dodgers are up 2-1. Now continue. Sorry.
Well, there were so many plot twists in that game last night. And I think obviously a lot of people are talking about it because it went 18 innings. The longest or second longest World Series game ever. I saw some stats this morning on it as far as like pitches and balls used and everything else. You take a look at the night Shohei Ohtani had. You take a look at the terrible base running mistakes that both teams made. The weird play with Dalton Varsho and Bo Bichette where Bo got picked off first base. On
a missed umps call. Like, that's why I don't want to sit here.
It was a bad call, Rod, but you see Dalton Varsho when the call is made strike and he continues on to first and then he doubles down by throwing the bat down, thus confusing Bichette. What's the first base coach doing?
No, I know.
Right, but how many times do we see a batter on a pitch where he thinks it's a walk start to make the move towards first, gets called back? You could hear on the broadcast, umpire Mark Wagner goes strike. So what's Varsho doing? Yes, it's a bad call, but you hear him go strike. So as the batter...
No. It was a very delayed strike call. It was a very delayed strike.
Not to the point that
go back and
not
watch
to the point that you continue. You see Varsho look back, hesitate, and then throw the bat down to continue on. He knew that was a strike. I don't know why he doubled down.
By that point, the ump hadn't signaled strike 3 yet. He hadn't. Go back and watch it.
Yes, he had. Anyways, he had said strike. You can hear it on the broadcast, Rod.
I saw something different, but then that's fine.
Well, of course you did.
Here's another question. Well, and by probably, and that's the thing is, again, I value my sleep. That's why I went to bed. It's not that I'm not a Jays fan, but when the Panthers and Hurricanes went to 5 overtimes a couple of years ago, I went to bed. And by the way, I didn't regret that either. Stupid question of the day, but I'm good at stupid questions. I was having lunch with Chris from the Bronx the other day, and he's like, do they not have the new rules in the playoffs? Pitch clock, man on second in extra innings. Clearly they do not, but it's similar to hockey. They don't do 3-on-3 overtime in the playoffs. NFL has different rules for overtime in the playoffs. So the dumb question would be, should they adopt those rules for the playoffs? I'm guessing
no, and the
pitch
clock the pitch clock is still in effect.
Okay, but this runner on second is not. Because
No.
I'm watching, I wasn't really paying attention to whether there was a clock or not. But clearly it wouldn't have gone 18 innings if they had a runner on second. So we're in agreement, though. Everybody would say no.
Oh, I have no time for that. Like, I don't want a Stanley Cup game decided in a shootout. I don't want a Major League Baseball game decided in a home run derby like we had the
Nor the
All-Star
World
game.
Series in this case.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on to point 2. Everybody's talking in the chat section, and you can write in as well, 902-518-3033. It was tied, I believe, for the longest game in World Series history, but you can comment on that throughout the show. 2 minutes left in this segment, Mitch. Point 2, because this is the Canadian hour of the show, I do want to talk about this with you. The 2027 Grey Cup was awarded to Saskatchewan yesterday, somewhat unheralded, somewhat out of the blue. Again, under the 2 minutes here, this will have to carry over into the next segment, but they're saying the game will be played November 7th, thus the season's moving up. People are bitching about that. They're bitching that it's going to be in Western Canada for 4 straight years and counting. Bitch, 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 bitch. What are people happy about in the CFL these days? Can you tell me? Because I don't see too much.
That's a great question, Rod. A really good question.
I go
Because
from
as
dumb
you
questions to great questions. Yeah.
Yeah, because as you said, it doesn't matter what the CFL does. People are going to bitch about it. And I've even seen some tinfoil hats come on saying, oh, you only gave this to Regina because it's the first Grey Cup below the 55-yard line, and Rider fans are the most irate about this, so you're doing this to appease them. Like, just stop, people.
Who is that imitation of? Producer Corey just laughed in my ear at your imitation. Is that grumpy Saskatchewan guy? Is that grumpy Canadian? Is that grumpy CFL fan? What is that imitation?
I think it's a combination of all of them, Rod.
All of them? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, producer Corey says it sounds very Saskatchewan to him. But anyways, I want to get this debate going after the break. We'll continue this because people are bitching, oh, you're competing with the Stanley Cup playoffs now. And I don't have a lot of time for that argument, but I also kind of do. So anyways, I'll tell you, Hour 1 is brought to you in part by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. We've got NHL, more CFL, NFL, some NBA, a great poll question all on the way. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the RP Show. I'm loving the viewers this morning and the listeners. They're punchy, they're scrappy, but they're very respectful. And on the Western Dodge text line regarding Scruffy's grumpy old get off my lawn imitation, Rick is watching in Martinsville. He writes in and he says that imitation sounds like an average morning for Scruffy. Joe writes in and says, Rod's right. Go watch it, Mitch. On the delayed strike three call on Dalton Varsho that led to Bo Bichette being tagged out between first and second. Just saying, Mitch. And let me just move on. I'm going to last night's NHL games, there were only two. What do you got? Okay, you can defend yourself. Go ahead.
No, I want to get back to the schedule thing about moving the schedule up. How many?
No, I don't. Hang on. Hey. I'm running the ship here. We'll come back on that. Point 3 is NHL. Last night there were two games. Ottawa beat Boston 7-2, and Pittsburgh beat visiting St. Louis 6-3. The Pens have won, I think, 3 in a row. It's a very busy night in the NHL with 16 games on the schedule, and all 7 Canadian teams are in action, obviously, because every team is playing. I'm going to tell you what I love, Mitch, and trust me, we'll go back on the CFL thing, but what I love about here is it's South Florida specifically. Joel Quenneville is coming back with the Anaheim Ducks tonight. It was 5 seasons ago. He was forced to resign. We all know why. And the Panthers were 7-0 at the time. There's only one guy here that's even observing the fact that Joel Quenneville is coming back. It's my good friend George Richards from the Florida Hockey Now website. But nobody else cares. Could you imagine if this was a Canadian market, what it would be like with Quenneville coming back after all the scandal and the hype and the hub? Here, literally nobody cares, and I like that. It's just a hockey game. Ducks at Panthers tonight. Am I overstating that? I just feel like
no, you're not. And no, you're not. And I can only imagine. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but what's it going to be like when the Vegas Golden Knights head to Toronto with Carter Hart in the lineup? That takes the Mitch Marner story and it's going to sweep it right under the carpet because everybody's going to want to talk to Carter Hart.
Unless he's not made available, which is becoming more and more prevalent.
Well, that could happen, and it probably should, but yeah.
And there's nothing they can say about that. I mean, I've gone down to talk to Connor Bedard twice since Chicago's been here, and neither time was he made available. There's no scandal there. He's just not available to talk. And I'm like, what is Connor Bedard? Anyways, we will talk about these games a little later on. Again, apologies to Vegas Golden Knights fans and fans of Darren Millard. He got his days mixed up. And he can't come on today, but he will come on tomorrow, especially for those watching across Nevada. Okay. back to the CFL thing. I know everybody's all horny about the baseball. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in. He says, I watched every minute till 1 a.m. Mountain. I knew it was going to be over as soon as the Jays had to put their last pitcher in Little, and he didn't disappoint. Anyways, okay, if you people want to continue talking about baseball, I'm totally here for it. But as I said to Mitch, this is the Canadian hour of our 2 hours that we do here, hour 2, when we go to air across Nevada. Also across 32 U.S. states on Game Plus. It's more U.S. topics. So, Grey Cup announced will be in Regina 2027 in Saskatchewan. Cue the typical bitching. You knew just about everything. But it's November 7th. I think it's funny, Mitch. You and I have spent years. You and me.
I know where you're going on this.
Wanting all these changes to come. And then I get out of the damn league and move to Florida. And they're doing them all.
Yep. How many times did you and I do a sports show and we had people say, oh, you got to start the league earlier. We can't have the Grey Cup in late November.
I heard it
now
so much they
the
convinced me.
What are you doing?
I heard
you can't do that. Like, you just can't make people happy.
No,
it's like a Rider home game. It's like,
yeah, but what I'm saying is people
like
bitched and wanted it for so long.
Everybody has different opinions on Rider home games. Like, just deal with it, people.
But is it
just deal with it?
Is it just a Rider fan thing? But back up, because you said you wanted to address the conflicting with the Stanley Cup playoffs. I do have to say something. I spent a half a century living in Saskatchewan. I don't owe anybody anything. I got green in my veins, and you know that. But I never thought that it was a big deal to compete against the Stanley Cup playoffs until I got out of Saskatchewan and looked around and thought, oh, there's something else than this football team that wears green and white? What?
Yeah, exactly.
So there might be something there. There might be something there. I'm not sure.
I agree with you. People here are too insulated because the Saskatchewan Roughriders are the only professional team. When you take a look at the NHL, every Canadian team has a CFL team. So, you take a look at what the Oilers have done the last 2 years, or obviously that's going to push the Elks to the back burner. And Edmonton has switched some games to not conflict with Oiler playoff games, and I think the Jets have done that with the Bombers. So, yeah, if you have a successful NHL team, you're going to be conflicted with the CFL season, and there's no doubt about that. But it's not going to be something, I think, that is the death knell of the CFL if you've only got no interest in the first couple of weeks of the season, because the Bomber fan base, the Red Black fan base, the Argo fan base, whatever it is, the Stampeder fan base, if their team makes the playoffs, are in the playoffs because their attention is going to be on them. In Saskatchewan, it's Riders or nothing. If an NHL team came to Saskatoon and they were a playoff team, how would that differ? I guess we'll never know the answer to that until it happens, if the day ever comes.
Which is never going to happen. But I just want to clarify. We have a lot of new viewers, which is awesome. But I need to clarify things for them because it's episode number 1605 of this show. We're in season 7. Jeff in Toronto's a great guy. He just found us the other day. He goes, hey, Rod, do we get any soccer talk here, such as Toronto FC or Vancouver, who are having a great season? Absolutely none. I don't like soccer. I tried it. I'm not interested. Let me relate it to this. As Mitchell knows, I owned a very beautiful pizzeria in downtown Regina. We did 3 things really well: pizza, pasta, and great Italian salads. That's it. If anybody walked in off the street and said, can I get a steak? We don't serve that. Okay? So here on the RP show, we serve what we serve. NHL, CFL, NFL, and baseball when the Blue Jays are winning. So I appreciate it. I'm just laying it all out, Mitch. It's worked through 1,605 episodes. It's worked.
You can't have a show that's a buffet for everybody.
No, you
people
can't.
Have asked
Not
me,
these days.
Like people ask me, did you watch the Daytona 500 last weekend? No, I'm not bored to the point that I have to watch cars turn left all the time. I'm sorry, like there's just some sports, and then I'll say, I watch golf, I watch the Masters. How can you watch that? Well, because I'm interested in it. And if you want to watch NASCAR, that's fine. If you want to watch something that I'm not interested in, that's fine.
This is why I say today they've been punchy and scrappy, but respectful. And I hope my answer was respectful. Jeff in Toronto has taken it that way. He's just, LOL, no worries. I'm Portuguese. I grew up with it. Hey, I totally understand. I tried to watch, and it ended for me with the Copa America Cup when Canada played the USA in New York a couple of years ago. I watched it at my sponsor Bob's house. I'm like, I just wasted 2 hours. Guys were flopping all over the place. I'm like, these players spend more time on grass than Willie Nelson. This is not entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm not interested.
I understand that. I don't watch MLS, Rod. I don't watch a lot of like the Premier League, like the European leagues. But when it comes to the World Cup, when it comes to the European Championships, I'll sit down and watch those games because I do like watching them, but I know that you can't do a show about it. And when the World Cup comes along, it's going to be the biggest story in North America, but if you don't know the game or the people behind the game, how are you supposed to have a radical discussion about it?
Well, and by the way, sure. And the other night, I was going through the Panthers' Instagram or Twitter, one of the two, looking for something. And I saw them wishing, this is the Florida Panthers, I saw them wishing Inter Miami well in the playoffs. I'm like, oh, they're in the playoffs? I had no idea. And I kind of felt bad. Right. But I will tell you is, I've been here long enough that before Lionel Messi showed up, the Inter Miami whatever's couldn't have found the playoffs with a GPS. And the stadium was empty. So it tells you a lot about what players can do for your team and blah, 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 blah. That's a topic for another time. Anyways, what we are talking about here, and we will switch gears and go NFL and NHL next segment, is the CFL announcing the Grey Cup will be played, which is odd, by the way, on the cusp of the playoffs that you would do that you would announce it then. And I love the CFL. I love the people in the front office. The focus should be on the playoffs right now. But Brendan writes in, he says, the CFL starting when the NHL conference finals are on should be a non-issue. Most of the time, there isn't a Canadian team in the Final Four anyway. Right. And Vancouver Eric says, Canadian NHL teams that get knocked out of the playoffs aren't watching, Canadian fans aren't watching Carolina versus Tampa Bay. I think you're totally right. Which, by the way, is another thing. You and I aren't good to talk about this because we're going to be watching no matter what. We're going to be watching our Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to be watching the CFL. So I don't know who they're trying to get at. But people are also sheep. You know that. A couple years ago when Arizona played Texas in the World Series, I'm listening on the radio here driving around because there's 5 all-sports radio stations around here. And some guy goes, nobody's going to watch the Diamondbacks and the Rangers. I'm like, I guess I'm not supposed to watch. So I didn't. And it was the lowest ratings in a generation. People will watch what you tell them to watch. We learned that with the World Juniors. I think. Am I right or am I wrong? The casual person, the casual fan.
Yeah, I think you're right. You go back and talk about the conference finals in the CFL. I won't lie. If it's a Thursday night game 3 between the Rangers and Carolina, or Florida and the Islanders, I might not watch it because I've got no personal investment. If there's a CFL game, I might watch it, depending on what the matchup is. Now, if it's the Oilers against the Knights or the Avalanche against the Mammoth in the Western, or I guess the Oilers against anybody in the Western Conference Final, I'm watching it because that's my team. So, I understand that rationale, but I think also, too, if there's a Rider game against a Vegas, Colorado game, I'll probably watch the Rider game. And in this day and age, it doesn't get you too hard to get caught up in what's happened in the other game because with social media, you can figure it out.
That's the other thing. Again, for those that all just joined late, I did not stay up to watch the end of the ball game last night. And I'm, by the way, glad that I didn't. I went to bed in the 7th inning. It was 5-5. And woke up in the middle of the night, saw they were still going. Nope. Went and had a leak, went back to bed. I'm old, and I love my sleep. And I got up this morning and caught the highlights, and I was happy.
The guy with the toughest job in Canada this morning
is me
might have been
dealing
the guy
with
that had
you.
to put Blue Jays and 30 together.
No, the guy with the toughest job in Canada is me dealing with you. The second toughest job is putting together Jays in 30. The highlights took an hour, which is another thing. On Sports Center this morning, 90% was about the ball game last night, which it should be. That's my point. Nobody was talking about this series outside LA and Toronto till now, and now everybody is. Tony in Saskatoon writes in, he says, good morning, just sitting here in my home in Saskatoon, watching two Sasky guys making a ton of sense about everything. Love the talk, especially about people bitching about everything. Bullseye about NASCAR, Mitch. Signed, Tony from Saskatoon. Mitchell! Your phone's going off. We'll be right back. How much? Okay. We'll be back, and we'll get to, it's Frozen Frenzy for those that celebrate 16 games in the NHL. I have some thoughts on that today and a whole lot more. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line. Experience the Western Dodge difference, local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. We will be back after this brief pause. Don't touch that dial here on Game Plus Television.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right. Let's do the junior hockey report for the Mad Greek Eatery. The Western Hockey League announced Regina Pats forward Caden Brown has been named Player of the Week. A 20-year-old Caden Brown from Prince George, BC, he didn't tattle on anybody. He tallied 8 points and a +4 rating in 3 games. His God's team went 2-1. Penticton V's netminder Andrew Rayelts has been named Goalie of the Week. Rayelts, a 19-year-old product of Proctor, Minnesota, went 1-0 with a 0.00 GAA and a shutty this past week. By the way, Mitch, cover your ears. Can you cover your ears for a second, please? From the audience, Ray in Scarborough, Ontario writes in, he goes, I love Scruffy. He tells it like it is. No, he tells it like he thinks it is. That's not always the case. It's just the way he thinks that it is. And Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, really enjoying the Scruffy RP show. Well, I'm glad somebody is. Anyways, and Navy Dawn writes in. Mitch and I have had a lot of great chuckles together over the years. Navy Dawn writes in, he says, if there is no Canadian team in the if there is no Canadian team in the finals, viewership in Canada plummets. Should the Stanley Cup and the NHL go into scheduling for the CFL? I just say this is I don't think it should either.
No, neither should any league. The only thing that should happen, Rod, and sometimes you just can't do it because of playoff scheduling. I hate it when you have an NBA game conflicting with maybe a World Series game in the same venue, because we know that a lot of parks, they have those areas right close to one another. I.e. a couple of weeks ago when the Seahawks played Tampa Bay and the Mariners were playing Houston right after. The logjam of people, and people that would buy tickets for both, and you wouldn't know that the Mariners were going to be in when the NFL schedule came out. But
exactly.
Sometimes, though, those are the ones, especially when playoffs hit and there's stadium availability, it's could we move the time of that maybe a little bit? But then you've got the networks involved and everything else.
Sure, but the Toronto teams did. The Raptors did, and the Leafs did.
Exactly.
Which is amazing that they did that. Oh, well, by the way, I think it's amazing because I wouldn't think that
too, especially for the fact that the Leafs moved their game. But I guess because Sportsnet with Rogers had control there, they could do that. If it was TSN, I wonder if it would have happened.
Back in the day, it probably wouldn't have happened at all. You're right.
Maybe.
You're right about the TV thing. So here's the thing with the Frozen Frenzy. This is actually a really good segue on that. Nobody will remember this because they don't think about it. These are things that I think about. You probably wouldn't either. Last year when they had Frozen Frenzy, which is what today is in the NHL. Happy Frozen Frenzy, everybody. 16 games, all staggered. They puck drops at 6 o'clock with the first game, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and there's games starting every 15 minutes right up until 11 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
Last year they did it on the opening day of the NBA. And that was Gary Bettman giving a big old FU to the NBA. In my mind, it was. And
really? I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, well, that happened. That's nobody remembers, but I remember. And because Brent from Wellington, Florida, and I, we're going to the Panthers game tonight against Anaheim. Not together, but we'll both be there. And last year, the game started at 5:45, and everybody here bitched about that, which I think for good reason. Bad traffic, and it was late, people getting in and all the rest. But they went directly against the NBA, and this year they're not. They're doing it a week later. Do you think that they felt that that was a bad thing to do? It can't be a coincidence.
I don't know. Again, stadium availability and stuff like that, because we know that hockey venues are used for concerts and other things. I don't know. I couldn't.
Well, I'd like to listen. Here's the thing. I'd like to think that it wasn't an FU to the NBA. I'd like to think that. You know me a long
the
time.
NFL gives an FU to the NBA by playing on Christmas Day.
Is it, or is it just we don't care about you, we don't think about you?
Well, I think it's a combination of column A and column B.
Yeah.
The NFL doesn't care, but they're saying FU to the NBA by playing on Christmas Day.
I know. And what I love about the NHL, because will always be my favorite league. They take Christmas off, as you know, and Boxing Day. It's sacred to them. But that's the way the NHL does business. And that's why I say I'd like to think Gary Bettman, who incidentally is my neighbor in Scruffy, if he ever came down to visit, I would show you where he lives. Not that far from me. I'd like to think he's not that kind of guy. Plus, he worked in the NBA. Like, are these leagues so narcissistic at the top that they would do that to each other? Or do they actually want to work together?
I don't know, but now I'm just wondering now, are you picking up like a bucket of chicken on a Sunday afternoon and heading over to Gary's to watch games or what?
I might. Listen, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. Especially when the snow flies, watch an interview with Gary Bettman when he's on whatever, Sportsnet, TSN, NHL Network, if you celebrate. There's invariably palm trees behind him. Nobody thinks about that, but he has a place here, and he goes to a lot of games. And the thing is, he can roam around in the rink here, and nobody really knows who he is. He sometimes wears jeans and a quarter zip. Nobody knows because it's Florida, right? Where I go back to this Joel Quenneville return tonight. Nobody cares. It would be the biggest thing if he was coming into Toronto, if he had been the former coach of the Leafs. It's kind of nice to be able to focus on hockey, which reminds me regarding the poll question today, because we're going to have to break right away. The poll question is, what's the game of the night in the NHL? It's kind of not fair for you to vote. Our options of the 16 games, we've got Flames Leafs in Toronto, Golden Knights Hurricanes in Carolina, which is a battle of top 5 teams in the NHL. Utah Edmonton.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right. How about Utah looking like the 85 Oilers?
They look great. I told you that yesterday.
Yes. So that's your game. Give me an Oilers update. What are you guys panicking about today? You guys aren't much different than Rider fans, just so you know.
Well, it's another slow start to the season. Like, where have we seen that before? Can we get an identity? And can we get Zach Hyman back? Because the Oilers really miss Zach Hyman, and that's showing really right now. Edmonton can't get those inside goals that you need to get. And Zach Hyman is a guy that produces that grit, that produces that grease and that to get in there. They really miss Zach Hyman right now, and they need to get him back.
He's not playing because his parents are rich. Didn't you hear?
Ryan, I forgot.
Ryan in upstate New York writes in, he says, Frozen Frenzy's going to be great. Looking forward to it after I record tonight's podcast. Producer Corey wants to know, what's Ryan's podcast? It's called No Credentials Required. I've been on it. It's fantastic. And we're going to get Ryan on here soon. Here, John Ohm says the NBA is king of the Christmas Day doubleheader games. Triple headers, actually. But the NFL's doing it now. And a few years ago, the Packers were here on Christmas Day at Miami. There's a guy from Milestone, Adrian Trelevin, writes me on Facebook, and he says, hey, I'm coming down for the Dolphins and the Packers on Christmas Day. You going to be at the game? No. It's Christmas Day. What's wrong with you? And by the way, it was cold and rainy and crappy. What?
Roddy. I would love to go to a professional sporting event on Christmas Day.
Come down here. There's a million of them.
Okay. I might then I might have the wife angry, but if I had the choice of like getting 4 hours away from the house on Christmas Day with
Mrs.
family
Scruffy
around,
Mrs. Scruffy.
Yeah. Happy wife, happy life.
Oh boy. What do you got? You got to roll. How much? We got 1 minute and 20 left. Last thoughts, Mitch, before we let you go.
Nothing. I think the Blue Jays are in big trouble. I told you this yesterday. I thought they had to win that game last night because with Ohtani on the mound tonight, I don't see Toronto having a lot of success. That would mean that you'd have to win the final 3 games against the Dodgers to win the World Series in 7. And I just don't think Toronto has the capability to beat the high, talented price Dodgers 3 in a row. even with 2 of those games going in Toronto. So I think it looks bad for the Blue Jays now because I expect Ohtani to pitch another great game tonight.
Right, but it's must-win, must-watch TV, and must-win tonight for the Blue Jays. They've already far exceeded what we thought they would do. So at this point, we all got to watch. Thank you. Enjoy,
you bring up your
enjoy
frozen frenzy.
Yeah.
You bring up your frozen frenzy. I wonder how much this is going to conflict with the World Series in the States.
Bye. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues on this Tuesday. Happy Frozen Frenzy Day if you celebrate. If you don't know what that is, you should. NHL does it once a year. What they market it as such, 16 games in the day. There are so many things that I didn't even get to with Mitch. They'll roll over into hour two. I'll say it for a third time. Apologies to the Golden Knights fans and fans of Darren Millard, their TV broadcast host. He had his days mixed up. He was supposed to be on today, but he's going to come on tomorrow. And the Golden Knights are playing tonight at Carolina, one of 16 games. I have a list of notes written down. Like one thing this morning I'm watching ESPN. Scroll across the ticker. What does Jerry Jones need to do to save Cowboys season? Voice in my head goes, quit. If you wonder where I'm at with the Dallas Cowboys these days. Time for a sports update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today in Moose Jaw, Main Street, or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Shohei Ohtani had a historic game at the plate Monday night. Tuesday night, he'll be aiming to do it on the mound as the Dodgers two-way superstar will start Game 4 of the World Series at Dodger Stadium, aiming to give the defending champions a 3-1 lead on the Blue Jays in the best-of-7 Fall Classic. Ohtani homered twice and tied a 119-year-old Major League record with 4 extra base hits last night, putting on yet another impressive postseason show. Shane Bieber will be on the mound for the Jays, who were out-hit 16-15 in last night's 6-hour, 39-minute contest. The Blue Jays will either need to win tonight or Wednesday to force the World Series back to Toronto, which is a whole other thing. Something about when Mitch is on, Scruffy, we could do another hour easily because there's a lot of things that we're kicking around and debating here. Just so you know, like the NBA is the worst at taking time off in between games in the playoffs. Sometimes 3-4 days off in between games. NHL's 2, sometimes 3 days off in between games. And now that I got to an NHL market and NBA market, I've asked the media and some of the sports people here, why do they do that? And they say, oh, to build up hype, to build up excitement in between games, sell tickets. I'm like, Major League Baseball has been doing this, playing every night, except for a travel day, for 100 years. They seem fine. They're not struggling to sell tickets. I just don't like it. I love that they're playing back to back to back to back. It's awesome. I think that helps build up hype. But again, as I said to a viewer that wrote in here and complained about Scruffy, opinions make the world go round, and it's their leagues, not mine. I'm still going to watch. A fan at Monday night's game between the Pittsburgh Penguins and St. Louis Blues was taken to a hospital after falling from the upper concourse at PBG Paints Arena. The incident happened early in the first period after Anthony Mantha's goal gave the Penguins a 2-0 lead. Emergency personnel treated the fan, a man who was not identified, before taking him to Mercy Hospital, located a few blocks from the arena. I did see the quotes from Sid the Kid after, and because he hit his 1700th point last night, 9th player in the NHL to do it, and he's like, kind of don't really want to talk about that, given this. But that's Sid. That's your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Plenty of time here in hour 1 for viewer takeover the rest of the way to the top of the hour. 902-518-3033. Let's see what's crack-a-lacking over here in the YouTube chat. The poll question doesn't surprise me. Running away with the poll is the Edmonton Oilers and Utah Mammoth is the game of the night, according to our viewers. I can just hear John Ohm. What about the Jets? That, John, many, many years from now when you pass away, I'll make sure that's engraved on your tombstone. What about the Jets? Let's hope by then they've won a Stanley Cup. Jeff, the Stamps fan, is right. He says nothing worse than a hockey series that takes 3 nights off. I know. I don't know why they do that. And I went back. Why I specifically picked the 1994 Stanley Cup final, I don't remember. That was the Vancouver Rangers one, right? And there was this exact same spacing as the last 2 years when the Oilers and Panthers met in back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. So it's not new. It's like the 80s you got to go back to when the NHL did a MLB style. And so did the NBA back then. Whose idea was it to spread out these games? But like I say, we're the ones that are watching no matter what, no matter when they play. Glenn is watching in Medicine Hat. He says the Dodgers made 4 or 5 crucial defensive plays last night. Totally professional. They absolutely got what they paid for sure. And we're kind of back to that David versus Goliath thing, aren't we? Although after the Game 1 bombing by the Blue Jays bats, people were saying it's Goliath versus Goliath. It's just been a hell of a series. Nobody thought the Blue Jays were going to be here except for them. We all thought the Dodgers were going to be there. I hated being the guy saying, hey, do you remember the poll question we had in August? It was, what will make this a successful Blue Jays season? Winning the pennant, appearing in the World Series, winning the World Series, or other? What won the poll that day was winning the pennant. So amongst our viewers, far exceeded expectations. That's not a shock to anybody. But that's also that thing, because I've been with enough teams and I've been with championship teams. We're here. We might as well win it. John Ohm says, note to self, put Rod in my will. You mean I'm not already? Regarding the spacing between the games, me and Jeff, the Stamps fan, are getting hung up on this together. He's like, I suppose arena scheduling conflicts could be a factor sometimes. Yeah, but they never used to be. Again, they never used to be. I kind of get it with the LAs, and what do they say? Winnipeg's the busiest venue in North America. It's just, can we try and play every night unless it doesn't work? It's like they schedule the break no matter what, whether they have to or not. I do want to go back to the CFL for a second, because we're not going to be talking about it in the next hour, and this is what we call the Canadian hour of the RP show. Am I the only one? You know, here's the other thing is, you don't see me criticizing the NHL nor the NFL, because that's where my future is. It's too late for me to go back on the CFL. I've pissed too many of them off by giving my opinions. So I'm just going to let it rock with my opinions with the Canadian Football League. I love the league. They don't like the stories that I break. I don't make the league look bad. They just can't control me. Nobody can. But I found it odd that on the week of the playoffs, they're announcing when the Grey Cup's going to be. And to be honest, it didn't seem like a huge ripple anyways. Scruffy and I opened this hour talking about it. People are complaining that it's 4 straight years and counting that it's going to be in the West. Like, hello. Stuart Johnston clearly is a very bright guy, the commissioner of the league, putting it in Saskatchewan. I'd put it in there every second year. Just like the World Juniors plays in Canada every second year. Did you ever notice? They want to make money. This league's about making money now. And moving the season up. I, again, said to Mitch, for decades I railed on things for the CFL, how I would like to see them do things. And for decades I was told to shut up by the league office. And eventually I did. And I moved to Florida. And frankly, all those guys, and they were guys, some girls, that were in the league office, they're not even around anymore. Like, you all think it's the CFL, or it's like the Blue Jays. I was thinking about 2015. John Gibbons, Jose Bautista, all those, they're all gone. It's not the same team. It's not the same CFL that I knew. And now you got this regime moving the season up, expanding, which they will, probably to the U.S., making these modernization of the rule. They're finally doing what I wanted them to do for decades, and I don't even cover the league anymore. The only thing that I would argue about is, I guess, when would be a better time to announce the Grey Cup? You can't announce at this year's Grey Cup that is the 2027 is going to be in Saskatchewan, or maybe you can. I don't know. I would just like a lot more of the focus this week to be on the playoff games this Saturday. You know, in 2008, we moved the playoff games to a Saturday for only the 1 year. The ratings tanked. Only did it 1 year. Went back to Sundays. Thank you, Tony and Cochran. He thought this was funny. LMAO. Spent more time on grass than Willie Nelson. That is soccer in a nutshell, Rod. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, you're not going to get soccer talk here. Just not. Nope. Vancouver Eric says, announce that Grey Cup week in Winnipeg would have been preferred. Now that I say it out loud, yeah, that seems a lot more, that it would make a lot more sense. Not in the week of the playoffs, but at the Grey Cup week. But again, overall, I don't really care. Jeff in Toronto says, I don't get why people get so worked up regarding the location of Grey Cup. Why do they get worked up about everything that they get worked up about? I need to go back to being not so confused. I don't think going up against the Stanley Cup playoffs is that big of a deal for the CFL yet. I'm not sure that I'm right. It's just how I feel. And then everybody tells me how dumb I am, and I go stand in the corner like a dunce. Next hour, the Moose will join us. We'll talk about this stuff and a whole lot more. We'll be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere. Game Plus TV Network podcast and Mission Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Heyo! Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It is your favorite daytime sports talk show, and I know that to be a fact because you're watching. A disclaimer. Before the disclaimer, we're coming at you on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network all across the state of Nevada and also across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network. So if that's where you're enjoying this fine program today, make yourself at home. You're at home here. The disclaimer is that Darren Millard will not be with us today, the television host of the Vegas Golden Knights, because he got his days mixed up. Newsflash, breaking news, people are human. Life happens. So Darren Millard will be with us on Wednesday, not today, but another Darren is ably taking his place. Darren Moose DuPont will jump in segment 2 today. So from a mallard to a moose. Looking forward to that. Okay, let's go on this Tuesday, the quick 6 show topics. The big story. Freddie Freeman, everybody's still talking about it, hit a Brendan Little offering over the center field fence in the 18th inning Monday night to give the LA Dodgers a 6-5 victory over the visiting Toronto Blue Jays in Game 3 of the World Series and now a 2-1 series lead. Freeman's hit, the 16th of the night for the defending World Series champions, ended a 6-hour, 39-minute marathon at Dodger Stadium. Game 4 goes tonight. If you can believe what you hear, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you will. I heard it tied a World Series record for longest game ever. It rolls over into tonight. Shane Bieber will be on the mound for the Blue Jays. Shohei Ohtani goes for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And it's been a topic. Well, let's put it this way. Baseball, for whatever reason, used to be the national pastime, used to be America's game. For whatever reason, it's kind of become a regional thing. And the only people that I saw cared about this World Series were Los Angeles and Californians and all of Canada. But because of this 18-inning marathon on Monday night, everybody's talking about it. It's what I guess they needed. And, the fun thing about this, I asked somewhat rhetorically earlier on in the program today, should baseball look at bringing in, adopting their regular season rules for the playoffs? It was quickly trounced. That's why I wasn't serious about it, because I work in NCAA level baseball, and we have the putting a runner on second in extra innings. It ends games real fast. It's awesome because I'm old and I like to go to bed. And which reminds me, everybody's talking. It's like a badge of honor. Did you stay up to watch the game last night? Well, I'm out here in Florida on the East Coast. We're old. I went to bed in the 7th inning. It was 5-5. And was pleasantly surprised, or just pleased to know that it went 18 innings and I didn't stay up for it. And it's not like I can't or won't, but just a few weeks ago, I stayed up for that Cowboys-Packers game on Sunday Night Football that went to overtime, ended in a tie, and I distinctly remember thinking, what did I stay up for? Not doing that again. So anyways, I know that the Blue Jays will not have this seep into their thinking, and this will always be the Blue Jays show, that, we've had a great season. Maybe no matter how this World Series turns out, down the line, if they don't win it, they'll think that they had a great season, because they have. We had a poll question way back in August. What will determine if this is Blue Jays season is a success or not? Is it winning the pennant? Is it going to the World Series? Is it winning the World Series or other? And winning the vote was winning the pennant. They already did that. And they've advanced to the World Series. So they're playing on house money. The Las Vegas people would understand that terminology. But now's not the time to think about that. They've come this far. They've hung right in there with the new evil empire. So it's just been a hell of a series, and we've been enjoying it. By the way, you can always text us. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. Jeff is watching in Toronto, and he says, we won't think that way now, but down the road, we will. Right, that's the thing. And you don't think about these things when you're in the middle of a series. I know that they're not. I just hope eventually it dawns on them, because losing sucks. You don't go into it planning to lose. Okay, moving on. Point 2, the Monday Nighter. For those that don't celebrate the baseball, Patrick Mahomes threw for 299 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the Kansas City Chiefs beat the visiting Washington Commanders 28-7. Again, in the Monday Nighter. The game was tied at halftime, but Mahomes was nearly perfect after the break. Kareem Hunt found the end zone twice for now 5-3 Kansas City. One of Mahomes' touchdown passes was to Travis Kelce, and I felt like he turned back the clock. I didn't watch the game, obviously. I was watching the Blue Jays, but I saw the highlights, and that looked like the Travis Kelce of old, not the old Travis Kelce. Give him 83 touchdowns to tie Priest Holmes. That guy was a touchdown machine back in the day for the Kansas City Chiefs. And so now they both are tied for the record. Priest Holmes and Travis Kelce, 83 each. How about that? But again, I think we've established by now that my team is the Dallas Cowboys. And I will say it again this morning on ESPN. It's scrolling across the ticker. Those that have ESPN might have seen it, because all they do is talk about the Dallas Cowboys on there. I don't really know why. But it's, what should Jerry Jones do to save the Cowboys season? And that voice in my head was like, quit. Just do us a favor and quit, Jerry. Embarrassed in Denver on Sunday. And the interesting thing about that, I've talked about it here a few times on this show. People are starting to realize it, that I've detached from the Cowboys. It doesn't hurt as bad. But those people that have not, that are drinking the blue Kool-Aid that Jerry's mixing, they don't see it. They don't see it. They're 3-4-1. And just a few weeks ago, people are saying, are the Cowboys a Super Bowl contender? They're not even going to make the playoffs. Quit, Jerry. Do the right thing. To point 3, because Toronto and Las Vegas are NHL towns, it's a very big day. And before we look ahead, there were 2 games Monday night. Drake Batherson and Tim Stützle each had 2 goals and a helper. Claude Giroux, Nick Cousins, and Fabian Zetterlund scored singles. And the Ottawa Senators won their 3rd straight game with a 7-2 decision over the Boston Bruins. And Brian Rust had 2 goals and a helper. Erik Karlsson had 3 assists, and the Pittsburgh Penguins beat the visiting St. Louis Blues 6-3. Just 2 games on a Monday. But a very busy night in the NHL tonight with all 16 games on the schedule. All 7 Canadian teams are in action. The Vegas Golden Knights are at Carolina, and that is the poll question today. What is the game of the night in the National Hockey League? Now that we are into week 3 of the regular season in the NHL, and I still use football terminology for the hockey season, we're in week 3. We'll see how long we can continue that going. We're going to do this poll a lot. What's the game of the night? Maybe always on a Tuesday. I'm not sure. The options that I came up with the 16 games that are being played, are the Calgary Flames at the Toronto Maple Leafs, which I could see why a lot of people would vote for that. Number 2, the Vegas Golden Knights at the Carolina Hurricanes. And they just met last week in Vegas, and the Golden Knights beat them 5-1. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in Raleigh tonight. But the Golden Knights, they are struggling. Saw them with my own 2 eyes here this weekend in Florida. They were shut out in Sunrise on Saturday 3-0, lost 2-1 in overtime to Tampa Bay on Sunday. They haven't been playing that good. So their case could be made why that would be the game of the night tonight, the Vegas Golden Knights at the Carolina Hurricanes. And the third option that I came up with was the Utah Mammoth at the Edmonton Oilers, only because the Oilers are 2-time defending Western Conference champions, and the Utah Mammoth, for whatever reason, seem to be the hottest team in the NHL. I'm probably wrong on this, but I feel like they're on a 7-game heater right now, the Utah Mammoth. What I know is they haven't lost since they unveiled their new mascot, Tusky. What the hell is going on with the Utah Mammoth? And that's leading the poll, by the way. I know you all are writing in about your betting. Yeah. I'm glad I don't bet. Was it this hour or last hour I was saying that baseball's become a regional sport? I don't feel like it used to be. I feel like we all used to watch the World Series growing up as kids. I may be wrong. It's happened like twice ever. But Jeff the Stampeders fan writes in and he says, other than the NFL, I think all championships are pretty regional. You might be right. But again, growing up, baseball was number one in all of our world. Largely, hockey was number one for me, but we all watch the World Series no matter what. And now I feel like you're not unless your team's in it. I wouldn't probably be watching it. Like a couple of years ago when Arizona met Texas in the World Series, I heard on the radio, I was driving around, it was Fox Sports Radio, and the host was like, nobody's going to watch this. It's the Rangers and Diamondbacks. I'm like, I guess I'm not going to watch. I'm not supposed to. And then I didn't. Apparently none of the rest of America did either. It's that thesis that I'm waiting, and I'm too old to write it. Or, you're never too old for anything. I'm just not interested in writing it. How did the NFL become the king of the sports jungle on this continent? On the way, before they're done, they will be number one on the globe. They're not yet, but they will. How did they do it? I'd be interested for some suggestions from the viewers. I don't know how they did it. We've just seen it. It's kind of like, because it's not my job, I wasn't covering it. I wasn't really paying attention, but all of a sudden, boom, whoa, the NFL is number one. Took over baseball, and NBA was never number one, but it's just the NFL's quashing everything. We all watch the Super Bowl. The other Jeff in Toronto writes in, he says, next poll question, the most delusional fan base, Cowboys, Leafs, Yankees, or Knicks? That's a good one. Can we do that today? I'd like to know what people think about that. By the way, 902-518-3033. It is 11 minutes after the hour. We pause and observe. Expect the best. Just try it if you're not used to it. That actually works. We're on the number one TV networks. Game Plus and Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Ray is watching in Scarborough. He writes in and says, thank God, no soccer talk. Yeah. It's a topic for another day, but it's just like, I didn't grow up with soccer. I don't like it. I tried soccer. I have nothing against soccer. But in today's world, the NFL, NHL, CFL keeps me busy with social media. Two of those leagues are year-round leagues. I don't need soccer. I tried to get into the Copa America Cup a couple of years ago, Canada versus USA. Guys are flopping all over the field. It was not entertaining. It was bad. They weren't trying. I tweeted as much about that, and I had soccer fans writing, going, that wasn't a good example of the game. I don't care. I'm done. I gave you 2 hours, man. Time is the most valuable resource that we have, more so than money. They're making more money. They're not making more time. Write that down. There's your tip of the day. They're all agreeing that Leafs fans are the most delusional on the planet. Again, probably a topic for another time, although Moose DuPont is coming in next, the founder of this program, and for many years the CEO. He might have some thoughts on that. He will be joining us from Toronto. I would say the Leafs fans are the most delusional. The thing with Yankees fans, we have a lot of viewers in New York on the Altus cable network. They're not delusional. They just expect to win every year. And when they don't, they're pissed off and want somebody fired. I respect that. That's not delusional. So Yankees aren't. Cowboys fans, delusional. Yep. Not me, but a lot of them. But at least we've won 3 championships in the color television era. The Leafs win it. I don't need to put up the poll. The Toronto Maple Leafs win the poll as the most delusional. I'm sorry, but even Leafs fans know that. It is quite interesting. I'm chatting with Alame the other day. Said Washington Capitals TV analyst. He says this is the first year ever that the Leafs have gone into the season and their fans didn't expect them to win a Stanley Cup. So maybe this is a year that they will. Tony watching in Cochrane says, I believe the 2-3-2 format gives the unintended advantage to the lower seeded team. Just split the first 2 games on the road and can win with the next 3 at home. The NBA has dumped it. Well, it has to do with travel, right? And we're not saying this if the Dodgers hadn't split on the road. And I would assume, I don't know, but I would assume this would have gone to a vote of the owners or the board of governors, maybe even the GMs. It's as fair as they could do it. David in Winnipeg writes in, I'll answer this right now. He says, with Moose being a family man, I'm going to put the over-under at 12 midnight and take the under that he did not stay up beyond 12 watching. You'd be wrong. Moose and I talk every day, and he was up watching it and in a watering hole. Just so you know, we answered that. Okay, we got a lot to get to. Happy Frozen Frenzy Day, everybody, in the NHL. We got that to get through with Moose, NFL, World Series, maybe a little NBA, but definitely no soccer. You're watching on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network on our overlords, Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Ladies and gentlemen, does your message stand out? At Outlaw Communications, we make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise, from media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. We had a bit of a crisis today. Darren Millard, Golden Knights television host, got his days mixed up. He's going to be with us tomorrow. He was booked for today. Darren Millard, Vegas Golden Knights TV host. He'll be with us tomorrow. Darren Moose DuPont joining us from Toronto, standing in. I appreciate you doing that, Moose. Do you want to take a swing at the impromptu poll question that came up today? Have you been watching or seen what that is?
No, I haven't yet. Hit me.
Okay, I think it was Jeff in Toronto who asked us, what's the most delusional fan base in sports? New York Yankees fans, Dallas Cowboys fans, Toronto Maple Leafs fans, or other, somebody that we haven't even thought of.
Oh my gosh. What a great poll question.
It is not bad.
The most delusional fan base in sports. That's good. Probably Cowboys fans, because the fan base is so big. I mean, the Leafs fan base, the Yankees fan base, they're all big too. But for the Yankees, they at least win. The Leafs and Cowboys do not. So I'd say probably Cowboys, just because of the sheer size of that fan base.
Those are all the reasons that we brought up before, exactly what you just said. And it's funny because I was at a Florida Panthers watch party in last year's playoffs. I was sitting with a guy who's originally from Tampa. But he goes, I lived in Dallas for 6 years. Those people are delusional. They're brainwashed. I'm like, I know. I'm a Cowboys fan. But listen, you live in Toronto. Are you not saying the least because you don't want to piss off your neighbors? Is that why you didn't? Because everybody knows it's Leaf fans. Give me a break.
Oh, they're right there for sure. You know, again, delusional. I'm not sure if they're delusional, but they're just hopeless. Right? It just hasn't happened. It's not going to happen. They're heartbroken and hopeless, right? So you kind of almost take pity on them because it's been so long. At least the Cowboys, won one a little more recently in the 90s. And so there's some delusion that they're so close to the 90s that it's like, which they're not, 30 years, we're still that team. Well, there's no delusion that anybody thinks the Leafs are the teams from the 60s, right, in the 50s. But yeah, Cowboy fans, maybe they think they're still the same.
What I completely love about this is we're so far off road that we couldn't get back on road with the GPS. We'll get back to the World Series in a second, but now that you're saying all these things, it reminds me of a topic that came up the other day. Do you know, as you recall, you were one of the pundits that I asked all summer going into the NFL season who was going to be the surprise team. Yeah. You said the Raiders. I said the Raiders. Like 80% of our pundits, which included Torrey Gurley and Gus Farad, and I think we had Warren Moon in there. Most guys said the Raiders. And that has not happened. It's actually been what? The Colts, the Patriots, who have won 6 in a row. What are your thoughts on that, where the bottom fell out for the Vegas Raiders? I think you're following them pretty closely because you love Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, it just hasn't translated. I mean, they've dealt with some injuries, which has been a huge issue, and it just hasn't quite been what you expect. And, for Geno, I mean, you think he's going to take a big step forward like Sam Darnold's doing in Seattle and continuing to play well. And it just, again, injuries are a big issue in Vegas for sure, and that's a huge issue in the NFL. And it just hasn't quite happened yet. I still think, Vegas is in an okay spot. I think, the future still looks pretty good. I wouldn't be too dejected like I would be in some other markets, but you look at some of those surprise teams like the Colts. Daniel Jones has just found a wonderful home in Indy, and with Jonathan Taylor, in the conversation for MVP. They've had a fantastic year. You thought a surprise was going to be the Jaguars for a minute. That hasn't quite happened, but sure has in Indy.
Shane Steichen going to be coach of the year. But let me say this. I think you and I both agree that Tom Brady will have such an impact on the Vegas Raiders. Will they be in a Super Bowl within 5 years?
Ooh. No, that's quite aggressive.
Yeah.
And I say no because they don't have the young quarterback in the top tier of the NFL. You have to have a quarterback. I mean, yes, there's lots of examples of teams with backups getting and winning Super Bowls, but you need to have a quarterback if you want to be in the Super Bowl.
But he doesn't have to be young. Tom Brady did it. What was he, 45? When he took the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl. But there's only one Tom Brady, as we all know. Boy, do we have a lot of viewers from Toronto today. Hey, shout out to the Big Smoke, Hogtown, the Six. Ray in Scarborough writes in, he says, most delusional fan base, Toronto. He's from there. Kirk writes in. Kirk says, hey, Rod, the Skydome was sold out to watch Game 3 on the Jumbotron. How about that? Let's go to the World Series. The viewers were taking bets on whether or not you stayed up to watch the end. I'll let you handle that.
I did. I went out to the sports bar to watch it, okay? And I mean, I should have uploaded some photos. I put 3 chairs together and I was laying across them by the time we got to the 15th inning, and I was kind of taking naps between innings. The sports bar was packed, and then by the time it got past 2 a.m., it was pretty dead. A lot of people had decided to go home. This game's not going to end. It got to the 8. I'm like, I got to stay till the end of this thing. I do, but my eyelids, like I needed toothpicks to hold them open. And by the 18th inning, the Jays batted. And when they finished batting and didn't score, I said, okay, I'm tapping out. I'm going home. And I literally got in the car, pulled out my TV app on the phone, set it up on the dash in the thing so I could listen. And the second I pulled out of the parking lot, there's the home run from Freddie Freeman. I'm like, I couldn't have stayed for 3 more minutes to see that. So yeah, I stayed.
Hence why I went to bed in the 7th inning. I don't regret it. I feel great. It was 5-5 at the time. But again, it's not like I would never stay up. I stayed up to watch the Cowboys and Packers on Sunday Night Football a few weeks ago, went well past midnight and ended in a tie. I'm like, why the hell did I do that? Well, because my team was playing the Dallas Cowboys, and the Blue Jays are my team, but I guess maybe not that much of my team. Rich in Edmonton writes in and he says on the Raiders, he goes, the bottom fell out when they got New York Jets era Geno Smith. That's the one thing about football. You can always look back. Football's like the easiest sport to go, oh, well, that was a bad decision. They didn't expect Geno Smith was going to play this bad, just like nobody expected Daniel Jones was going to be the second coming of Joe Montana. This is what makes it fun.
Yeah, nobody had any idea. That's been the wildest story. I don't know if it's comeback player of the year type stuff, but what a resurgence from Daniel Jones. And, with the Colts, that has been maybe the greatest story in the NFL this year. And there's a lot of really good stories. I mean, Baker's MVP level performance, aside from last week, even though they won. Daniel Jones, that's been fantastic. I wonder what they can do in the playoffs. That heavy AFC will be tough. But the Colts, they're in the conversation. They really are. And it's been fun to watch.
I was listening to a show the other day. I said, who's the most surprising AFC division winner or leader? Colts, Broncos, Patriots. Here's the thing, though. With the Kansas City Chiefs molly-whopping Washington last night, 28-7, do you not feel like things are settling down like sediment in a container of gravel? That now you're not going to see the upsets. It's taken half a season, and you're just not seeing the upsets anymore. The teams that you expect to win are winning.
Chiefs have figured it out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the Colts, are the biggest surprise. I mean, maybe Houston would have been projected. Jacksonville, it's a wide open division. It's not a great division. For a minute earlier this year, everybody said, is the AFC South becoming a real beast of a division? And it was for a hot minute, but it's not anymore. Denver, for sure. That's a surprise in terms of leading the division. We thought they would continue to get better, for sure. And the Patriots in that division, too. They're ahead of schedule, but that's Mike Vrabel. I know Mike Vrabel. I don't know him personally well, but I know him well because I followed him with the Tennessee Titans as the coach of my team for a number of years, and not surprised that he's been able to get the Patriots back on track this fast.
He's the Dan Campbell of the AFC. That's what I see, anyways. From the Barflies, to the actual game, he says Ohtani shouldn't have another swing in this series. Let the rest of the Dodgers try and beat you. Well, if you're Dave Roberts, you're going to do whatever it takes to finish this thing as soon as possible. And if it's been working for Shohei, why not have him hit?
How about Savage isn't worried about throwing to Shohei? He struck him out first time up, first at bat of the whole World Series, and he sat him down. Yeah, you look at. I tweeted it last time. Is this a good idea when they finally pitched to him? But I think it was Little, but he didn't pitch anywhere near him, and he walked him anyways. The intentional walks, then 9 times on base. It didn't feel like an epic game from Shohei, even though it was. And he hit 2 home runs and got on base 9 times, couple of doubles. Like, he's unbelievable. What a player. But no, I'd be pitching around him too. I would. The Jays did that very, very well last night, and were able to get out of some jams. They put runners on base. But at the end of the day, they should have won. It was a couple of base running errors that really hurt the Jays. A couple of base running errors trying to come home. Davis Schneider was one of them. They had their chances, but then just couldn't get the bats going.
Game 3 was the swing game in the ALCS when the Blue Jays went out to Seattle down 0-2. They won it, came back, and we saw what they did. The Dodgers aren't the Mariners, obviously, but clearly they are beatable. So I kind of get a kick out of people saying, scruffy last hour, Jays are in a lot of trouble now. They were in trouble going into the series, right? They've been playing with house money through this whole thing. So I still think they have a chance to win it.
They're down one game. They're down one game. Like, nobody would have been shocked if the Dodgers won game 1 of the series, but they didn't, but it's a little bit of the Toronto sports complexion, but as fans, I mean, we grew up in Saskatchewan. We had it as Rider fans. You just are waiting to lose. You're waiting to lose because you've been disappointed so many times. For fans here, they've been disappointed for 32 years. So you're just waiting for it to happen. You're like, we're done now. Well, we're done now. And it's like, no, you're not. It's 2-1 in a 7-game series. You're going to be okay. You might not win the series, but it's far from over.
I forget what that mentality was like. I remember it growing up as a Rider fan. I just haven't thought like that for a long time because we got some championships, thank God, in 2007 and 2013. Good segue. Speaking of losing, the Leafs are home tonight to the Flames. 16 games, NHL Frozen Frenzy. Our poll question today, our actual poll, not our fun secondary poll, our actual poll question for EMJ Marketing Speakers Bureau is, what's the game of the night in the NHL? Of the 16, my options that I came up with are Flames Leafs in Toronto, where you are, Vegas Golden Knights at Carolina. And by the way, Golden Knights TV host Darren Millard will be with us tomorrow. Or Utah at Edmonton, which is leading the poll, or other. What do you got?
How about Utah? They're a wagon to start the year, and they've been fun to watch. And, really liking that team, and they're young, and they're hungry, and they're playing the Oilers. I think you picked 3 really great games. I mean, look, the Leafs and Flames, because we like those teams. They're Canadian markets, and we like the people in Calgary and all the rest. Probably in terms of the game, not the best game. I'm going to go, I would traditionally say Vegas, Carolina, but I'm going to go with Utah, Edmonton. It's a real big test for Utah. You got to play Connor McDavid, the best player in the world. The team's off to a hot start. This is probably the biggest test they'll face so far.
Well, again, that's leading the poll. But I'll tell you something about here. South Florida. So of the 16 games, one of them is the Anaheim Ducks coming into Florida. And you're thinking, like anybody would, Anaheim, Florida on a Tuesday. Who cares? But it's Joel Quenneville's return. And 5 seasons ago, I had just gotten here. Quenneville was the coach of the Panthers. This is his first time back. Would you be surprised to know nobody knows or cares? I almost feel like putting out on my Cats and Bolts, like the podcast that I host, Florida's favorite hockey show. Do you even remember Joel Quenneville? But I think that would be disrespectful to the people that actually do love and cheer for the Florida Panthers. But 5 years ago, nobody cared about this team. And I was saying this with Scruffy an hour ago. Seems like a year ago. Can you imagine, Darren, if this was a Canadian market? If all of that scandal had gone on, the Chicago scandal I'm talking about, with a Canadian team, and Quenneville was coming back for the first time, can you imagine, bro, the 3-ring circus it would be? And here, nobody cares. And I kind of like it. Because tonight's just about a hockey game. You know what I mean?
I know. And it kind of gets me thinking a little bit, as you say that, about Carter Hart in Vegas. And I know we got a lot of viewers that are watching, and some will have strong opinions, others will not, on the signing of Carter Hart. but you're right. It's very similar to if he had signed in Edmonton, which was rumored for a minute, that there was maybe some interest there, whether there was truth to that or not. If he had signed in a Canadian market, it'd be a much different story, just the way it is. And I think it's the same with Joel Quenneville. But it'd be interesting. I wonder, what he's feeling coming in and how, big that Florida stop was on his kind of career path and his, in his heart and stuff like that.
I don't know. I gotta remember what the connection is, but the manager of the Regina Red Sox, Rod Pedersen, I want to say his sister's married to Joel Quenneville, or there's some connection there. Because this summer he was giving me some scoops out of the Anaheim Ducks at baseball games. The skipper of the league champion Red Sox, Rod Pedersen. I know it's kind of a funny story, but at one time, Quenneville had a house here because he lived here. He was the coach of the Panthers. But no, in retrospect, it is a bit of a blip. But just to go back on this a little bit, and I'm getting mail from our Vegas viewers now on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. They love the hockey talk. That's a whole misnomer. People think Americans don't care about the NHL or even less about Canadian NHL. That's not true. They're jealous of what the profile the NHL enjoys in Canada. But why do you think it would be a bigger deal for Carter Hart to be with a Canadian team than like the Quenneville return?
Well, I think it's similar to Quenneville being in a Canadian market. Just the amount of attention that would be on it, the scrutiny, the questions, the fire that management would be under, all the rest. And I think you mentioned Quenneville coming to a Canadian market. If he had been with the Oilers or with the Leafs or the Canadians and he comes back there for the first time, there would be a ton of questions. There'd be a ton of hype and buzz around it. And there'd be a ton of scrutiny about should he still be in the league and all the rest of that. That would come with it. And it's pretty quiet tonight going back into Florida. And I think if Carter Hart was with a Canadian team, it'd be a lot louder, right? Before he makes his first start, before his game, at practice, the media would be questioning the coach and the GM and, all of that. It would be front page news in Canada because there'd be more attention on it. Carter Hart going into an American market, probably a little bit better. He can ease back into the NHL as much as you can ease into the game.
Good answer. Very good answer on a very delicate topic. I appreciate you for handling that. And I'm not going to go any further down. The one thing, I'll say it again, I ring the bell every time I tell people that I've known Kelly McCrimmon, the GM of the Golden Knights, since I was 16. I hugged him the other night. They're very lucky in Vegas to have Kelly in terms of his conviction and as a leader, because there are still people protesting at Vegas Golden Knights road games, some home games, about them signing Carter Hart. And he's like, this is what we're doing. And they're not putting up with any of the BS. So you can come, you can protest. He's been cleared to play by the NHL. It's over. And for some people, that's not good enough. And with this Quenneville thing here tonight, it's just they weren't paying attention to the Panthers 5 years ago. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. There's one media guy here that was just bringing it up. Wasn't trying to start anything. George Richards from Florida Hockey Now. He's like, Joel Quenneville's return. People are like, what are the Dolphins doing today?
Yeah.
So anyways, okay. Where are you watching the Blue Jays game tonight, Moose?
Tonight I'm watching it at home, and I'll try and stay awake. I'm not a big napper. I think you can nap. I've never been able to nap during the day. So we'll see. I'll try and stay awake and watch that and have hockey on as well tonight.
Good stuff. It comes from all those years traveling on buses and planes.
You have to.
Might have a nap right now in this break. All right, Moose. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate you.
See ya.
Darren Moose DuPont filling in for Darren Millard, Golden Knights TV host. Mixed up his days. But he'll be with us tomorrow. We'll be right back.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Time for a sports update. It's been a bit of a kooky day, but a good one. We've got to literally everything that I wanted to discuss today. Sports update is for Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. The NBA season has kicked off with a scoring frenzy. Players have already scored 40 or more points in 16 games. An unprecedented start. Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic of the Lakers and Tyrese Maxey of the 76ers have each hit 40 points this season twice already. Other players like Giannis Antetokounmpo and Steph Curry have also joined the high-scoring club. Despite these performances, the spotlight is on a gambling scandal involving Portland coach Chauncey Billups and Miami guard Terry Rozier. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has apologized for the distraction. Meanwhile, scoring averages have jumped with teams playing faster and getting to the foul line more often. I'll say it again. Why is Adam Silver apologizing for the behavior of these two? I don't remember Roger Goodell apologizing for any of the Patriots' shenanigans over the years. Anyways, I guess it's never a bad thing. Toronto Raptors are off today after suffering a 121-103 road loss to the San Antonio Spurs on Monday night. It was Toronto's third straight loss after opening the season with a win over the Atlanta Hawks. The Raptors return home to face the Houston Rockets Wednesday night. For now, and I see no reason for it to change, the Raptors are this show's NBA team. Though we don't do a ton of NBA talk, obviously. The granddaughter of President Donald Trump will be making her LPGA debut next month in the Annika at Pelican Golf Club in Florida. Kai Trump is a senior at the Benjamin School in Palm Beach County. She is the eldest daughter of Donald Trump Jr. and is committed to play for the University of Miami's golf team next year. The Annika is the penultimate tournament on the LPGA Tour schedule and typically has one of the strongest fields of the year except for the majors. Trump says she's thrilled to play an LPGA event and says it's her dream to compete against the best players in women's golf. That is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. A Tuesday in sports, a busy one. Game 4 of the World Series going tonight. All kinds of comments coming in from the viewers. Yeah, buddy. Ryan in upstate New York watching says, watch your toes. Rod's dropping names. LOL. I'm not sure. I can't remember now who names I was dropping earlier, but I'm sure I was. With regards to what the Blue Jays have done, it's a very intelligent viewing crowd that we have on this program. You all know what the thinking is. You're sports intelligence anyways. I don't know what you're like outside the toy world, but nobody's thinking about yet what the season was because you're in the middle of the World Series. But as Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says the Jays have gone toe-to-toe with baseball's best. Very impressive so far. As a matter of fact, they can't allow themselves to think that they've had a great season already, and I'm sure that they're not. It reminds me of Paul Maurice going into Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final 2 years ago. You know, they built up a 3-0 lead in the series and then lost 3 in a row. And some would think you'd be laying in bed the morning of Game 7 going, oh my God, if we blow this would be the biggest choke job in NHL history. And he was asked that after they won Game 7. He goes, I didn't even allow myself to think about it. That's what winners do. And the Blue Jays are clearly winners, so they're not thinking about it yet. We as fans can all say it's been a great season and enjoy the ride. But you kind of don't get the sense that the Dodgers are feeling any pressure either, though, do you? They certainly don't look like it. David number 1 in Winnipeg writes in, he says, the Jays going punch for punch with them have to be optimistic about tonight's game. At least they're not folding like a cheap lawn chair. It's funny you say that because Kirk in Toronto, man, we got a lot of Toronto viewers today. He says, I hope the Jays, I hoped the Jays didn't get swept when the World Series began. But I think Scruffy may be right. And now it looks like that may happen. Well, number 1, it's not a sweep. If anything, it would be a gentleman's sweep. Can you just please stay positive? And your first mistake was listening to Scruffy, the George Springer hater. We'll be coming right back. I got some questions that have been percolating, waiting all show long. I'll answer those when I come back. You're watching the RP Show on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada. YouTube Live, podcast, 1700 Mission Radio, and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Here we are for overtime. Final segment of the program. So, yeah, I've mentioned it like 4 times this hour, but I'm going to do it one more time. Vegas Golden Knights TV host Darren Millard, formerly of Rogers Sportsnet across Canada, very popular hockey host, Darren Millard from Brandon, Manitoba, was to be with us today. Got his days mixed up. Will be with us on Wednesday. I'm very much looking forward to that. Known Darren a very long time. He's a first-class guy. I had so much fun seeing the Golden Knights when they were in town this weekend. Too bad they didn't play better. Shut out in Florida 3-0. Lost 2-1 in Tampa in overtime on Sunday. They are one of 32 teams in action tonight across the National Hockey League on Frozen Frenzy. I feel like it's not getting a lot of play, Frozen Frenzy. Although, I got to say, ESPN's been talking about it, but they have to because the games in the States are all on ESPN. But it's Vegas at Carolina tonight. That's one of our options on our poll. What's the game of the night in the NHL? Others, Calgary at Toronto. It's a big one when 2 Canadian teams meet. Vegas at Carolina, as mentioned. Potential Stanley Cup preview there. Utah at Edmonton. That's leading the poll. Shout out Oiler fans or other. By the way, Overtime's brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. If you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot, they're the people. It is an amusement park for hockey players. Trust me, I've been there many times. State-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment, and the latest and greatest equipment. Just drop your kids off and leave them. That's what you can do. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Yeah, it's not. We have a lot of viewers everywhere. But I know there's a lot of Canadians watching this show in Las Vegas. They tell me. Tony writes in on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033, says, quick, off-the-beaten-path question. Do you say medicine hat the way you do because of an old Wayne and Schuster sketch? If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I can send you the video. Number one, please don't send me any videos. And that's not just you, Tony. That's everybody. Please just don't send me video. I'm not going to watch them. So save yourself the time. It's this social media age now. Everybody can DM, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, DM, text. I'm not watching the videos. Number two, the answer to why I say it, medicine hat, you'd have to be an old-time gamer like me. But back in the day when NHL, let's say NHL 09, first had the junior hockey model where you could make the junior hockey teams, we would play, because I was working in junior hockey, in that mode all the time. And Gary Thorne and Bill Clement, the great voices of the NHL on ESPN back then, were the voices of the game. So it would be Jordan Eberle gets checked by Berkeley Butchko. And at the end of the game, it would say, for Bill Clement, this is Gary Thorne saying goodnight from Medicine Hat. And the longtime viewers of this show will know that's why I've been saying it that way ever since. Gary Thorne, the voice of the WHL on NHL 09. Good night from Medicine Hat. And the funny thing is, we were playing the video game so long ago that it was Scruffy who actually said, allowed him now, I wouldn't say it at the time. Scruffy said, like Gary Thorne would ever be caught dead in Medicine Hat. It's a great town. I'm just doubting Gary Thorne's ever been there. What else do we have here? Oh, regarding the fact that the Anaheim Ducks are here tonight, South Florida, taking on the Panthers in Joel Quenneville's return. And 5 years ago, I'm going to tell you, nobody even know who Joel Quenneville was here because nobody was paying attention to the Panthers. And John Ohm writes in, he says, everyone loves a winner, eh, Rod? I.e. the Florida Panthers. Yeah, we discussed that on our podcast that we do, Florida's Most Watched Hockey Show, the Cats and Bolts podcast. I had the Hall of Fame voice of the Panthers on, Jeff Rimmer. And he said it's not about that they didn't know about hockey then. Jeff was the voice of the team when they went to the Stanley Cup final in 96. And he goes, what people don't understand was in 93-94, their inaugural season, they almost made the playoffs then. The barn was full, Miami Arena downtown. So it's not about that they don't know there's hockey here. It's you need to win or they won't go. I was talking about Inter Miami earlier. I don't follow soccer. And when I got here, they were the worst team in MLS. 7,000 people went to their games at Fort Lauderdale Stadium, and then they get Lionel Messi, number one player in the world. All of a sudden, they're good. They're making the playoffs. They're winning, and the stadium's full. You can imagine in South Florida how soccer would be a pretty big deal, and it is. But you got to win, or they don't care. What else do we got? Sports on tap tonight. World Series Game 4. We've talked a lot about the 16 NHL games today, and we'll talk a lot about them tomorrow. 5 games in the NBA tonight, including Charlotte at Miami. I'm just throwing that in here because I live here. I really don't want Vegas to get an NBA team. They're having enough fun getting caught up with the NHL and NFL. And MLB is on the way. It might be too much. There are a couple college football games tonight. UTEP at Kennesaw State. James Madison at Texas State. And for the Dubsters, the Saskatoon Blades are at Tri-City. When Darren Millard had to reschedule today, I was thinking about getting a hold of Les Lazaruk down there, the voice of the Blades. I knew he wouldn't be doing anything in Kennewick Win on a Tuesday morning, but Moose very capably filled in and can speak well on a variety of topics. So thank you, everybody, for your audience participation today. As always, making it the most interactive show on television. We covered it all. Enjoy the games tonight. Be safe. Be good to each other. But I very confidently say be good to yourself, because if you're not, I can guarantee you nobody else will. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same station. Game Plus Television, the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network.
That.